Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. I am Marla Martinson, aka the Mystical Matchmaker, and I am with my friend Toni Green. Hey Toni.
Hey Marla, how are you?
Hey, awesome. We are so excited for the Valentine season because since I'm a matchmaker and love coach, and Toni also does love readings and a lot of healing work and hypnosis to switch the thoughts around love and the healing work around it. So today we're going to talk about that feeling that often single women get when Valentine starts approaching because there's so much pressure, right, Toni? Like somehow the commercialization of it makes it, we see teddy on TV, teddy bears and pajamas and roses and chocolates and perfume and expensive dinners and champagne. And if you don't get that, you feel like, oh, you're missing out. And then
This is the time of the year when, first of all, it's New Year's, and we have all these New Year's resolutions of this year I'm going to, lose the weight, bring more money, save more money, meet that person. And some of these things, like meeting a person, might just be out of your control. But then right after New Year's, when you're like, this year I'm going to get that relationship, then we fall into Valentine's Day. And, you know, we can't we really can't put so much emphasis on a day. And I want to say now every single day is like we have a national donut day. Don't stop putting so much pressure on a day. Right? No, but seriously, like there's Veterans Day, which I like, and then there's Single Women's Day and Sons Day and Daughters Day, and
yeah,
we
there's
have to,
everything.
you
Yeah.
know, we have to take the pressure off of ourselves for this one specific day.
Yeah,
And you're in a healthy.
when I lived in Chicago, I was in my 30s and I had gotten a divorce and I was a waitress and I those the we used to call, I worked in a high-end steakhouse and the waiters, the people that worked in the restaurant used to call it amateur night because it was the night that the people from the suburbs who didn't typically eat out in the nice places in the city would save up and they'd take their, we were like, they don't know what they're doing. I don't know, maybe it sounds very snooty or whatever, but we
No,
called it
I know
amateur
what you're
night,
saying. Like,
right?
I right before you were going to say that, I was going to say if you're in a healthy relationship, you're doing the date nights, whether they're in date nights, like in your living room, not chicks and Phil, Netflix, and I'm so
Netflix.
dyslexic sometimes. Um, yeah, you're doing like date nights, but I think sometimes Valentine's Day is for newer couples also, and they
Right, see, because when
so
I was a waitress and
much
I was always so
pressure.
depressed because I was always single on Valentine's Day and I'd have to serve these people, I was like so bitter
Oh,
because there
yeah.
was these people getting engagement rings, champagne,
Oh,
and I was single. And so what I would do in the afternoon, because I'd work the nighttime shift, so in the afternoon I'd go to this this restaurant bar, and I knew the bartender and I knew some of the people, and I'd go have a glass of champagne and a steak sandwich. And I didn't even eat meat or anything, but I'd say char it real good, and I'd eat a steak sandwich and a glass of champagne, and that was my Valentine's treat to myself. And then I'd go wait on the people getting engaged.
yeah,
Then I
because
wrote a short story, you guys, called Amateur Night, and it's all about that. So I'll put the link below. So if you want to read that, it's on Kindle. It's a short story.
anybody who's first anybody who's dating or married in a real let's just say in a relationship, don't put a pressure on any one event because it's not the one event, it's the totality and the consistency of the whole relationship. So if somebody's inconsistent, like throughout your relationship, but then shows up for like Valentine's Day, and don't put so much pressure on that. Don't make that like, oh my God, for Valentine's Day they did this, but for every other day they're like a pooper. It should be equal.
Or if they're wonderful and then Valentine's, they don't get you, there's so much expectation. They better get me
Yeah.
roses and take me to expensive dinner and get me some jewelry and all of this. Just release that expectation. It's so heavy, and then it leads to disappointment, and your person can't read your mind, you know.
That is another thing. So if you're a person that some people think Valentine's Day is nothing. Now, my sister has three daughters, and her husband would make sure they bought roses for the girls on Valentine's Day, but that was consistent, and it was a tradition. That doesn't mean, and especially for women, hear us now, hear Marla and I now, men don't celebrate that way. Mommies aren't out buying their little boys roses and making and really hyping up Valentine's Day to their little boys. They might do it to their girls, but like not all men and even not all women think Valentine's Day is a big deal. So have that conversation, make it comfortable. Say, hey, how have you celebrated Valentine's Day in the past? Not how are you going to celebrate it with me? Because that's a ton of pressure, especially if they don't know how you like to celebrate, or
Yeah.
they're not an over the top guy. You have to like look at what type of guy is this in the first place. Are they a steak joint guy, or are they like I'm going to get so much heat for this, a Cheesecake Factory guy or an Applebee's guy? You know, you have to measure your guy. You
Right.
really do. And yeah, don't put so much pressure on it, but ask them, how do you celebrate? What do you think of Valentine's Day? How do you celebrate it? This is how I feel about it. And let them know, like Marla said, you have to let your people know how you feel about these
I
things.
dated a guy once before I met my current husband, and he said, "I hate Valentine's Day." And he wasn't going to give me a card, nothing. And I think I sent him a funny e-card or something like that, right? And it was just like there was not going to be anything. And obviously he wasn't a fit for me, but it was really the pendulum swinging the other way, whereas my husband Adolfo, it's cute. He'll get me a balloon and a really cute card, and maybe, we'll do something, but nothing big, it's just sweet.
If you're with someone and you're not comfortable having conversations with them, contact Marla, contact myself, schedule a session.
Yeah.
Let's get to the bottom of why you're not comfortable having these conversations or saying certain things to people. No shade to anybody. I'm using this as an example. I'm not saying it's bad or wrong. It's very common though. Girls are more comfortable in today's world dropping their panties on the third date than even asking a guy if he's single, because they're so afraid of, number one, his reaction. They're afraid they're going to ruin it. If he's the man, you cannot ruin it. If he is the guy, he's going to be so transparent and tell you. You
Mhm.
don't, and if he's your man, if he's the one, you're going to be comfortable asking him and having conversations with him. And
I have a great way to
yeah,
put that, because when I was single, after I had been married before Adolfo, I'd been married to Adolfo 24 years, but before that, I had been married for 7 years and then single for a few years. Now, during that, I've always been a relationship person. So when I became single after a 7-year marriage, I was like, I just thought, I was getting asked out, and I thought, well, if somebody asks you out, they must be single. I couldn't fathom somebody that's married asking you out. It wouldn't cross my mind. And so I did end up this cutest guy,
they always are.
came on to me, and he was sexy and foreign, and we went out, and then we went to that steakhouse and sat at the bar, and the bartender that I knew, she leaned over, and I said, "Oh, hey, this is such and such," and then she leans over and she asks him, she goes, "So, honey, are you single?" And he says, "No, I'm not. I'm married." And she's like, and I'm like, "Wait, what? Why would she even ask him?" I said, "What?" And he goes, "Well, you never asked." And she goes, "Yeah, honey, you got to ask." I'm like, "You got
Yeah.
to ask? What are you talking about?" And so, but now I heard something quite a while ago, which I love, a good way to approach this, instead of just saying, "Oh," say, "Is there anyone in your life that is under the assumption that they are in a relationship with you,
Yeah.
right?
And here's, yeah,
Because they may think, they may be
I
seeing somebody for 3 years, but they consider themselves single, but they're really not. So that I like that.
I was embarrassingly in that situation, Marla. I was seeing somebody, and we had, I thought naively,
Mhm.
extremely naively. And I'm going to say this, if you're dating someone from another culture, you really have to ask those questions, because the way they have relationships and the way the men of some other cultures view relationships and monogamy can be very different than what you would even imagine. Um, but one time, I'm not even going to give all the details, but one time this person looked at me and said, "I'm single," and I'm like sitting on the couch with no clothes on because we just did the deed and we'd been seeing each other for so long. And I'm like, "What?" I go, "What? You're single?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm single." I go, "Does that mean I'm single too?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm not wearing a ring." So in my mind, automatically, and women do this all the time,
Mhm.
we automatically go to that justification. Oh, yeah, we're not married. So what he's saying is he's not married. No, what he was saying in my case was, I'm still out there slinging my ding-a-ling-a-long to everyone, which,
Same thing happened to me. I was sitting with a guy
yes,
that I'd been seeing. He even had a key to my apartment, and this was that time when I was in my 30s after my divorce. And he says, "Oh," and we're snuggled up, and he goes, "Oh no, I'm not
yeah,
ready to be in a relationship. I'm not in a relationship." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm sleeping with this guy."
yeah.
But
And, but here's the thing, women, most women, even younger women, some people could look at us and say it's your generation, things were more serious. I know a lot of younger women, and most women, they want to meet someone, they want to lock it down, they want to be in that relationship.
Mhm,
They want to know that they're in a monogamous, healthy, loving situation. Men know this.
mhm.
So men will do and say what they need to do and say, or behave in ways to make them think it's where they want it to be. And men will, I know this is going to really shock some people, men will straight up lie to your face. Shocking. And tell you everything you want to hear so
Mhm.
they can keep getting the yum yum and
Yeah.
keep it locked in while they're doing it to other people
Yeah.
at
So
the
we're
end
not,
of
we
the
don't,
day.
we don't want you to think, "Oh my gosh, this is all doom and gloom and all this."
No, no, no.
But we're just saying we want the women, and especially these young women, to love themselves, to have strong boundaries, to know who they are, to not jump in right
Yes.
away, to be aware, ask the right questions, and those signals. And when they, what I used to do, I was talking to Toni about this earlier. If a guy would say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to call you," we'd have a great date, a really fun time, or maybe we'd been out a few times. And then I didn't hear from him anymore. And he said he was going to call. And I thought, I was just so naive, just like when I thought, well, if they're asking me out, they have to be single. I thought, well, he said he's going to call. So oh my God, he must be dead. He must have had a car crash, or he must be in the hospital, like in a coma. And I remember one guy I was dating for months, and I just hadn't heard from him in a couple weeks. And I was, this was back when we had payphones. This was in the 90s, and I was waiting on tables, and on my break, I walked up to the payphone and I called him, and he answered, and I said, "Oh." He goes, "Oh, hi." And I'm like, "Hi." I said, "Are you okay? I thought maybe you were in a crash or something." He goes, "No, no, no, I'm fine." He goes, I just don't think that, we're a fit," or whatever he said. And I said, "Well, were you ever going to tell me?" And he said, "No." He just was never going to tell me, he just would disappear. So when we call it now ghosting, that word, or they disappear, They're usually not dead or not in a coma, so you can just rest assured on that. It's a low chance. And just that is kind of, closure. You don't want somebody who you've been seeing and you haven't heard from in 5 days or a week or 3 weeks. That's kind of, women say, oh, I want closure. I want to know what happened. Why not? How does he think? But maybe he's just busy. He said he was moving. He said he was doing this. Hey, if somebody wants you, no matter how busy they are, they can send a text. It takes 3 minutes. They'll call you. So just allow that to be the closure. It's like, do you want somebody that way? You don't have to try to call in Toni for a psychic reading saying, what is he thinking? So she can read his mind. She'll help you with some other healing stuff so that you don't have to keep yourself up at night.
So yeah, Marla, that's pure gold. And if you don't mind, if I just add to it, one of the best things I heard is no response is a response. So like if somebody ignores you or ghosts you or whatever word you want to use, if they do that, that's them telling you without saying the words, hey, I'm not interested. And they think, because men and women obviously very different in the way they think and the actions they take when it's done. Women come from the school of I need to explain, to tell them everything. I'm going to send them like a novel on why, or a novel on you haven't reached out. I thought it was this. And men are just like, if you ever watch two men talk, and this is the way men talk with each other, like buddies forever. If you ever watched a conversation between them, it's like, hey,
Right. It's
good?
a
Yeah.
lot less words.
You? Yeah. And if they do have a conversation, it's minimal words, straight to the point. And if they don't reach out to each other, they're not freaking out. They know, like, hey, have you heard from
We're
Joe?
not talking about their feelings. How do you
Yeah,
feel about this?
and it's all their testosterone. In part, it's a lot of testosterone. So when somebody doesn't, like a guy doesn't reach out to you, back in the day when we, didn't have these things on us 24/7, okay, maybe they ran out of quotas. Okay. But today they sit down on the toilet to take a pee. Even men now sit down on the toilet to take a pee and they're really, really responding to what is their, and I know this might hurt, priority. And that if that is not you,
They may come back too. You may hear from them, come around, breadcrumb you, but that's where you've got to have your strong boundaries.
and let's talk about why they may have disappeared for a minute, because we come back and we don't think of why they were gone. But sometimes, and again, not to make it doom and gloom, but to help women
Be aware and
have stronger boundaries, like you said. And Marla offers an amazing coaching program
called Liberate.
to liberate, yes, to help you know what boundaries are, because I didn't grow up with boundaries.
Oh my
There
God.
were no boundaries.
I had no boundaries.
If I would have tried to have a boundary,
And boundaries are between ourselves. It's not like I'm setting this boundary and you have to adhere to it, because that's not their boundary. So it's between you and you. What will you put up with? What are you open and available for? Like
Yeah.
I'm not available for that behavior. We also do shadow work, codependency work, all of that. And I'll tell you something exciting. Toni and I just got on this thing called Pop Call. Pop Call, you guys. It's an app, and you can call it. You can set up a call with us. It's per minute. It's like a hotline right to us. And our links are below. And you can go on there and see our price per minute, and you can send us a message. We can set up a video chat or an audio or text. So if you want some laser coaching, if you want a reading, if you want to tap into the energy, if you want a healing, anything you want, we're available. Isn't that fun? So that you don't have to, you don't have to do a whole. It's better if you have something pressing that you want to talk about right now. Maybe you just had a date or something's coming up, and you don't have to set up an appointment for next week or in the next couple of weeks or all of that stuff. So instant, just like we like it in our society now. We like fast and quick. We want it now.
And some of the things I love about Pop Call, I absolutely love this. I do, of course, have sessions that you can book 30 or 60 minutes, but sometimes I have a client and they say, I just have one question and I don't know how to, I don't want to make all new links for payment on that. With Pop Call, they can just tap in, they can hit that link and ask that one question. And then when they don't have to
Yeah,
like,
you'll put your credit card in, but you'll have that.
yeah.
That'll be something there for you. So
Yeah. Or if they just want a healing or a clearing on one thing, or if they just want to, whatever it is, or like you said, if they just want it right now, that I need an answer to this right now. It's beautiful for that. Absolutely beautiful for that. Yeah.
yeah, we both do energy healing, angel healings. Toni does hypnosis. I do coaching, and I have pull some
Yeah.
oracle cards, all of that. So, well, Toni, this has been amazing. And ladies, let us know in the comments how you feel about Valentine's Day. Are you looking forward to it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do are you in a relationship or not? And we'd love to hear from you. Any last words, Toni?
Yeah, absolutely. If you've been ghosted, just for all the women that might be going through it now, if you've ever been breadcrumbed, like they give you just a little bit to keep you holding on. If you've ever been ghosted or they've done the come and go, they're in your life and then they're gone and then they come back and then they're gone. Put it in the comments. And what we really want to hear, what Marla and I really want to hear is if you would have known then what you know now, what would you have done the first time they behaved that way?
Oh,
Because,
good idea.
oh
Oh,
my gosh,
coulda, coulda,
if I,
shoulda.
oh, right, girl,
I've got that. It's like, can I just time
girl.
travel and do a bunch of redos? It would take me quite a few years.
Yes. If I, like, when I met a certain person, I had not dated in so long, and I didn't understand what was going on in the dating world. And I went on a theme park of rides to learn everything going on with this particular situation. But if I would have known the first time something happened, I would have been like, done, bye, see ya. So please help us, help other women, put it in the comments.
Mhm.
If you would have known then what you know now, what would you have done the first time it happened? And then even if you're comfortable sharing with us, put in there um, what the end result ended up being
Okay.
anyway.
Love it. All right.
Yes. Thank you so much, Marla, for having me on. This is so fun. I love it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.